ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदामयं ददति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलान् श्रीगुरुवैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाख अन्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नाम नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, reading from Śrīla Prabhupāda-līlāmṛta, Volume 1, Chapter 33. A lot of ground to be covered. Indore, December 3, 1970. Okay. India continued to be like a dream for Prabhupada's disciples who gazed out the windows as the trains moved them through India's unfamiliar rural world. The trackside bushes blossomed in yellow. Mile after mile of irrigated agricultural fields passed by wheat, rice, sugarcane, and varieties of dal. Small villages, mud-walled houses with straw roof or thatched walls with tile roofs drifted peacefully by. An occasional village temple made of stone would rise above the surrounding simple structures. Cowherd boys with sticks tended their herds on the grassy banks of meandering streams meandering streams. And the grazing cows, the oxen plowing in the ancient fields, the dung patties drying in the sun for fuel, the smoke rising from the cooking fires, and the smell of the warm earth, all were part of a peaceful, a simple way of life the devotees were coming to appreciate through Prabhupada's association. Prabhupada and his disciples were en route to Indore, a city of 475,000 in the central Indian province of Madhya Pradesh, 13 hours northeast of Bombay. The directors of the Gita Jayanti Mahotsav, a festival to celebrate the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, had invited Prabhupada and his disciples to attend their convention and public meeting. In Indore, Srila Prabhupada and his disciples settled into their quarters near the Gita Bhavan, the site of Gita Jayanti Mahotsava. The directors of the convention had assigned Prabhupada a bungalow with a lawn and garden and had provided nearby facilities for his disciples. The devotees toured the grounds of the Gita Bhavan, noting the many swamis and sadhus who had arrived from various parts of India for the Mahotsav. They saw the large pandal and stage and the eye hospital run by Gita Bhavan and the diorama exhibit. The diorama exhibit they regarded as a kind of eclectic mixing of spiritual paths that Prabhupada often referred to as hodgepodge. Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, Vivekananda, Ramakrishna, and demigods and animals were all on display. While admiring the energy and imagination that had produced such an exhibit, the devotees questioned the benefit of such a conglomeration. Conglomeration. On the first night of the festival, Prabhupada was scheduled as the last speaker. His disciples, who sat with his on stage, grew bored and restless from the ordeal of so many hours of Hindi speeches. And knowing that these speakers were presenting Mayavad misconceptions made the evening especially painful. Srila Prabhupada sat sternly and waited, his hand in his bead bag and his head held high, his lips murmuring the Hare Krishna mantra. Can someone mute who is not muted? Or shall I do it? I'm already on that. Or it's fixed already. Where am I? Hmm. When Prabhupada finally spoke, he began by explaining that in the West was spreading the teachings of the Gita as it is. Bhagavad Gita, he said, could be properly understood only in disciplic succession, just as Arjuna, the original student of Bhagavad Gita, has understood it. The Gita was for the devotee of Krishna and should not be misinterpreted by non-devotees. To misinterpret Gita, he said, was to cheat in the name of religion. He also spoke strongly against pseudo-incarnations. Prabhupada concluded his talk and asked his disciples to begin kirtan. It was an ecstatic, spontaneous event, and Prabhupada began dancing on stage along with his disciples. The crowd came to life and began clapping rhythmically. Hamsaduta jumped down from the stage, still playing mridanga, and began inducing members of audience to join in chanting and dancing. Several other devotees also jumped down, and soon hundreds of people have risen to their feet, swaying, clapping, and singing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This was a real Gita Jayanti Mahotsav. The whole name of Krishna was being sung and everyone was happily united in the Kirtan. Greatly pleased by the performance of Prabhupada and his disciples, the Pandal directors visited Prabhupada the next day in his bungalow. Prabhupada complained at having to wait so long before he could speak. His disciples shouldn't be required to sit through hours of speeches in a language they couldn't understand. When Prabhupada intimated that the speeches seriously deviated from the teachings of Gita, the director of Gita Bhavan replied, "We do not favor any particular way. Followers of Shankara school and others also come to our institution. We do not subscribe wholly that Sri Krishna is the sole God or anything of the sort. There is a power behind him." This remark drew fire from Srila Prabhupada. What kind of glorification of Gita was this if the speakers did not accept Krishna as he is explained in the Gita? The Gita declares Krishna to be the highest truth. Matta Parataram Nanyat. Prabhupada advised the directors of Gita Bhavan to try to understand the meaning of Bhagavad Gita. The directors did not change their opinion, but they were intelligent enough to see that Prabhupada was a great Pandit and saint, and they listened respectfully. Nodding, they said they accepted his point of view. After the men left, Prabhupada continued, they are thinking that there is something beyond Krishna or that is the spirit within Krishna that we have to surrender to. But they do not know that the within and the without of Krishna are all absolute, eternal, and full of bliss. Prabhupada said he could see that the organizers of Gita Jayanti Mahotsav had invited him to draw larger crowds, but they would not make him sit again through all Mayavadi nonsense, he said. From now on, he would go with his disciples, speak, chant, and then leave. The next night, however, despite promises by the Pandal director, Srila Prabhupada again had to wait until the end of the program before he could speak and hold kirtan. This night, the crowd were larger than before and they were clearly waiting for Srila Prabhupada and the foreign sadhus. When Prabhupada's turn came at last, he spoke and then asked his disciples to begin Kirtan. During the Kirtan, one of the members of Gita Bhavan gestured to the devotees to jump down into the crowd as they had done on the previous night. But what had been a spontaneous event the night before could not be artificially staged simply as a crowd pleaser. The man, however, was insistent. He came forward to the edge of stage, reached up, and began grabbing at the feet of dancing devotees, trying to pull them into the audience. The devotees became annoyed. Grabbing indiscriminately, the man pulled at one of the women's sari. Srila Prabhupada was also dancing, but when he saw this, he rushed to the edge of the stage, swinging his kartals toward the man's face and shouting, "Stop this!" The man retreated, and Prabhupada and his disciples continued their kirtan. Although little noticed by the crowd, Prabhupada's burst of lion-like ferocity had amazed his disciples. The festival directors were once again pleased with Prabhupada's lecture and kirtan, but Prabhupada sent them word that he would not again sit through the other lectures waiting his turn to speak. He was wearied of hearing opinions on Bhagavad Gita that avoided the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, surrendered to Sri Krishna, the absolute truth. Some speakers made the Gita an allegory, some said Krishna was not an actual historical personality, and some simply took advantage of Gita's popularity to put forward their own political or social philosophies. A person with his own philosophy should write his own book, Prabhupada said, not use as a vehicle of his own ideas the Bhagavad Gita, a scripture worshipped by millions and respected throughout the world. Why should a conference under the name Gita Jayanti become a forum for speculative philosophies? Bhagavad Gita states that the Gita itself is the essence of knowledge meant to benefit the entire world. To misrepresent the Gita, therefore, was the greatest disservice. Prabhupada felt that by sitting through such a program, he and his disciples were tacitly, tacitly approving the blasphemism speeches. On the third night of the festival, Prabhupada and his disciples came early to the stage, having been promised by the festival directors that they would be first on the program. But when another speaker stood and began his discourse, Prabhupada, followed by his disciple, stood and walked off the stage. The festival director was quite disturbed by this, since most of the audience had come especially for Kirtan. He pleaded with Prabhupada to return, but Prabhupada refused. He did agree, however, to send his disciples every night they would speak and hold Kirtan. Srila Prabhupada's disciples found the morning Bhagavatam class in Indore especially relishable. Not only was the setting intimate, 10 devotees sitting with Prabhupada in his room, but the Bhagavatam story was intriguing, one they had never before heard. We are talking of Ajamila, a Brahmana residing in Kanyakubja, presently known as Kanpur. Prabhupada began and he narrated the story of Ajamila life, pausing from time to time to read the Sanskrit text or to elaborate on the story and its lessons. Ajamila, a young Brahmana, had strictly followed the religious principles until he became infatuated with a prostitute. As Prabhupada lectured, he focused on the bogus speakers at Gita Jayanti Mahotsava. There are so many things to know, but these things are not being discussed here. It is very cheap to do whatever you like. You simply meditate and you become God. So much cheating is going on all over the world. The so called yogis say you meditate, and as soon as you are realized, you become God. The Bhagavad Gita is being interpreted in so many different ways, and these so called explanations are being accepted by the innocent public as authoritative knowledge. Someone is explaining that Kurukshetra means this body and Pancha Pandava means the senses, but this is not explaining how can you explain the Bhagavad Gita as it is when you do not understand it? Such an attempt is nonsense. The five Pandava brothers, pure devotees of Krishna, are referred to in Bhagavad Gita. They were the victors of Battle of Kurukshetra. In the second lecture, Prabhupada narrated more of Ajamila's life. His leaving his chaste wife and going to live with a prostitute. His adopting illegal means for supporting her. His having 10 children by her and living sinfully until his eighth year. This story took place, Srila Prabhupada said, thousands of years ago. At that time, there was only one Ajamila, but you will find many Ajamilas like that at the present moment because it is the age of Kali. In his second lecture, Prabhupada narrated more of Ajamila's life. He is leaving his chaste wife. Yeah, I don't know why it's repeated. Ajamila had great affection for his youngest son Narayana, and as Ajamila lay on his dead bed and saw the agents of death approaching, he cried out for his son Narayana. Prabhupada continued his story. He was just on the point of death, so naturally he had affection for his son. So he was calling Narayana, 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 please come here, please come here. This is natural. That is natural. I know my father. When he was dying, I was not at home, so he was living for one day to see me. He was always inquiring whether Abhay has come back, like that. So father's parental affection is like that, and simultaneously Ajamila was calling Narayan, Narayan. Narayan is also a name of Krishna, and Prabhupada said that according to Bhagavad Gita, if a person remembers Narayan or Krishna at the time of death, he becomes liberated. One's mentality at death determines one's next birth. Because the devotee is Krishna conscious, he enters the spiritual world at death. And because the materialist is absorbed in the sense pleasure and mental speculation, he has to take birth after birth in the material world. Prabhupada gave an example. One gentleman in Calcutta was a fairly big businessman. He was dealing in share stocks. So at the time of death, he was crying, Kamarhati, Kamarhati. So the result might be that he might have taken his birth as a rat in the Kamarhati mill. It is possible. At the time of death, whatever you think, that will carry you to your next type of body. Because Ajamila had called on the name of the Lord, even though referring to his son, he became purified of all sins. Yet, because of his sinful life, the messengers of Yamaduta, the Lord of Death, also appeared to take him for the punishment. When Ajamila was dying, he saw that there were three ferocious persons, very fearful persons with ropes in their hands. Sometimes a dying man cries because he sees somebody has come to take him to Yamaraj. He sees and he is very fearful. So Ajamila also became fearful. The assistants of Yamaraj have hair very curled and the hairs on their bodies were standing. Now, at the time of Ajamala's death, the assistants of Yamaraj came to take him. Prabhupada paused. We shall discuss something again, sometime again, and he ended his lecture. Prabhupada began making life members in Indore by sending Hamsaduta out alone. Hamsaduta was inexperienced and even skeptical that anyone would pay 1011 um, rupees. Hamsaduta. One day Prabhupada told me to go to the market with a neighbor and take these books. He had three Krishna books and try to make some life members. Just show them the books, he said, and tell them this is a token of our work. Then ask them to please help our mission by becoming a life member of 1011 rupees. I was thinking that no one was going to give 1000 rupees for two or three books, so I just didn't do anything about it. I just avoided the issue. The next day, Prabhupada gave me the same instruction, but again I didn't do anything. On the third day, he said I had to go, so I went next door and got a man who took me to the cloth merchants. We went to the shop of the biggest cloth merchant in Indore. The man didn't speak English, so the neighbor who had accompanied me translated. I would say, tell him this, tell him that, and the man would translate everything. After I had exhausted my presentation, I said, now ask him to give a check of 1011 rupees. My translator related the message, and the merchant immediately took out his checkbook and wrote the check. Then we visited another merchant and the same thing happened. He immediately wrote a check. We went to another merchant and he also became life member. So I met three life members on the first day, and when I came back and told Prabhupada, he was in ecstasy. By sending disciples and by sometimes going out himself, Srila Prabhupada soon had a dozen ISKCON life members in Indore. Prabhupada, Hamsadutta and Giriraj visited the king of Indore and invited him to become a life member, but the king declined. The devotees were disappointed, and in the car on the way back to Gita Bhavan, Hamsadutta asked Prabhupada, did I say the right thing about the books? My books are like gold, Prabhupada replied. It doesn't matter what you say about them, one knows the value he will purchase. Sorry, one who knows the value he will purchase. Because visitors often ask Prabhupada and his disciples what they thought of various popular spiritual teachers, Prabhupada gave his disciples hints on answering such questions. If the teacher was not a bona fide follower of Vedic scripture, Prabhupada said, the devotee should reply, Swami, who? By thus indicating that he had not heard of a particular teacher, he would minimize the teacher's importance. Then the devotee should ask, what is this Swami's philosophy? When the person explained, the devotee could defeat the particular philosophy without attacking the person. India had many Mayavadi gurus, Prabhupada explained, and then they often traveled in groups from one convention to another. Although each had his particular style, primarily they were interested in chapatis. And for every chapati, he said, there are many Mayavadis, so there is competition. One of the Prabhupada's frequent visits was Vairagi Baba. Um, Visitors was Vairagya, an educated man who had visited America and who spoke fluent English. He regularly joined in the kirtan with the devotees, chanting and dancing with them on stage. And when he visited Prabhupada in his room, he behaved with Prabhupada in a familiar way, too familiar. Prabhupada's disciple thought, but Prabhupada tolerated him. One day, some devotees met Vairagi Baba at a lunch engagement and they noticed he was drinking tea. Almost naively and yet with an air of challenge, one of the devotees asked why he was drinking tea. Oh, I am a Avaduta, Varagi Baba replied. The devotees who had never heard this word before reported the incident to Prabhupada. Avaduta, Prabhupada explained, means one who is beyond the regulative principles. Generally, this refers to Nityananda Prabhu. Prabhupada disapproved of Vairagi Baba's tea drinking and especially of his calling himself as Avaduta. An incarnation of Nityananda Prabhu, an incarnation of Lord Krishna who descended along with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to spread the chanting of Hare Krishna and deliver the fallen souls of this age. His supremely independent activities, without regarding of rules and regulations that apply to human beings, made him famous as an Avaduta. His unusual pastimes are relished by devotees and are not to be imitated. A small group of devotees were sitting with Prabhupada in his room one afternoon. Srimati Radharani's excellence was her cooking. Prabhupada said she could also sing and dance, but her great service was her cooking for Krishna. Mother Yashoda would ask her personally to come and cook for Krishna and the cowherd boys. So, all in a line, she would feed them prasadam. An Indian lady came to the door bringing an offering of chidwa, fried cashew, potatoes, and raisins with spices. Srila Prabhupada took some, then distributed the rest to the other devotees. Do you like this? He asked, turning to Yamuna. Oh, it is very, very tasty, she replied. Yes, he said. You should learn to prepare this. I like it very much. My Guru Maharaj also fond of potato chidwa, and he would sometimes request it late in the afternoon. He was very fond of it. Srila Prabhupada, a devotee asked, may we publish pictures of you without tilak? Yes, he replied. My Guru Maharaj has been recorded without tilak. You have seen that picture where he is looking up from his books at his working table? Yes, the devotees replied. I have seen that picture. I have seen you look in that very same way, with the very same expression as in the picture of your Guru Maharaj. You have only seen the glitter, Prabhupada corrected. He is the gold. I am only iron. Iron can never be gold, but you have seen the glitter of real gold. One afternoon, a renowned astrologer visited Prabhupada and offered to read his palm. No, Prabhupada replied, I am finished with this, but you may read my disciples' palms. The astrologer read the palms of several devotees present, made his predictions, and then left. The devotees turned to Prabhupada, wondering what to make of it. As soon as you clap your hands in front of the deities during Arati, Prabhupada said smilingly, all the lines of your palms are changed. Srila Prabhupada told his disciples a story about when he had lived in Vrindavan. A Bengali widow walked to the Yamuna river to take her bath every morning, and every morning without fail she would return with a pot of water for Radha Damodar Pujari to use in bathing the deities. Prabhupada said he would sometimes open the gate for the woman, since he also rose very early, and she would enter and wake the pujari. Although the Vrindavan nights are cold in winter, Prabhupada said, the woman never once failed to come with the water. For this activity, she will return back to Godhead. One who cannot rise early in the morning is not very serious about spiritual life. One must rise before the Brahma Muhurta hour. That is very auspicious, and one will take the trouble to do so if he is serious about spiritual life. One day Prabhupada was sitting outside near his bangla chanting on his beads when he was unknown man approached when an unknown man approached calling out the names of Krishna. Suddenly the man fell to the ground, rolling and crying, appearing to be in a great ecstasy. Prabhupada remained seated and observed the exhibition but made no response. The man continued his crying and rolling and chanting, and Prabhupada now ignored him completely. After several minutes, the man got up and walked away, obviously disappointed. Early one morning, as Prabhupada sat in his room with his disciples, a gentleman entered and tearfully announced that his mother was dying. The devotees watching for Prabhupada's reaction saw him remain grave. He didn't try to reassure the man or preach to him, but made only a few mild comments. Prabhupada was unpredictable. He was always Krishna conscious, and he always acted in accord with Guru and Shastra. Vibho, cut an opinion. But exactly how he would act in a given situation was unpredictable. Whatever he said, however, was Krishna conscious and correct, and he was always instructing them by his example. On Prabhupada's last morning in Indore, he continued the story of Ajamila. He explained that because Ajamila had uttered the holy name, he had immediately obtained salvation, even though he had been so sinful. So, Ajamil, at the time of his death, just remembered his youngest son, whose name was Narayan. The very name of Narayan has got the full potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. That is the secret of this Nama Sankirtana movement. By chanting the holy name of Narayan, you immediately contact the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nama, the Lord's name, is not material, it is spiritual. Krishna and Krishna's name, there is no difference. In a very appealing voice, Ajamila began to ask his son Narayan, please come here, I am dying. He was very afraid of the Yamadutas. Krishna sent the Vishnudutas to give Ajamila shelter. The Vishnudutas looked just like Lord Narayan with four hands. With a grave voice, they said to the Yamadutas, what are you doing? Stop. You cannot take this man to Yamaraj. Prabhupada ended his lecture and his stay in Indore. Having accepted an invitation to travel to Surat in the state of Gujarat and hold Krishna conscious programs, he and his disciples would be leaving shortly. Devotees from Bombay would also join them. Prabhupada had come to Indore for the Gita Jayanti Mahotsav, but according to Mahotsava was, but actually the Mahotsav was but a small part of his preaching in Indore. He had met hundreds of people, made life members and friends. He had touched their lives. His presence in Indore would leave a lasting impression. Baba Balmukund. I have seen many sadhus and great saints in this Gita Bhavan. I saw Srila Prabhupada also in the same place. I was very much impressed by Srila Prabhupada and his preaching. It was because Prabhupada had revealed the reality about bhakti, because he was a pure bhakta, that he could change the people of the West and give them another dress. He could give them another diet. He could entirely change their cultures and give them true bhakti. And this was the greatest thing Prabhupada has done. Let the world say as it likes, but he has done a marvelous thing regarding Lord Krishna's bhakti. What Swami Vivekananda, Swami Ramatirtha, and others could not do, Srila Prabhupada has done. It is a marvelous thing. Surat, December 17, 1970. It was like a dream come true. Thousands lined the street for many blocks while the devotees playing kartal and mridanga and chanting Hare Krishna made their way along. Spectators stood on the rooftops or clustered at the windows and doorways while others joined the procession. The police had stopped traffic at the intersections, allowing only the Kirtan procession to pass. The earthen road, freshly swept and sprinkled with water, had been decorated with rice flour designed of auspicious Vedic symbols. Green, freshly cut banana trees adorned either side of the way. Overhead, women's saris strung like bunting across the narrow roadway formed a brightly colored canopy over the Kirtan party. Mr. Bhagubai Jariwala, Prabhupada's host in Surat, had advertised the daily parade routes in the local newspapers, and now, day after day, the devotees were holding kirtan processions through various sections of the city. While more than 20 of Prabhupada's disciples led the daily procession, thousands of Indians chanted, cheered, and clamored to see, and women threw flower petals from the rooftops. Often the procession would have to stop as families came forward to garland the devotees. Sometimes the devotees would receive so many garlands that their blissful face would be scarcely visible and they would distribute the garlands to the people in the crowd. Never before had the devotees met with such a reception. It is the city of devotees, Prabhupada said. He compared the people of Surat to dry grass catching fire. By nature, they were Krishna conscious, but the arrival of Srila Prabhupada and his Sankirtan party had been like a torch setting the city spiritually ablaze. The entire population of Surat seemed to turn out every morning as ten of thousands flocked at 7 a.m. to the designated neighborhood. Men, women, laborers, merchants, professionals, the young and the old, and all the children, everyone seemed to be taking part. Cramming the streets and buildings, they would wait for the Kirtan party, and when the devotees arrived, everyone became joyous. Prabhupada attended only a couple of morning processions, preferring to stay in his quarters at Mr. Jariwala's home. Each morning, Prabhupada would come out onto his second floor balcony just as the devotees were leaving. Although the mornings were cold and many of the devotees sick, seeing Prabhupada on the balcony, offering them his blessings, eased their troubles. Prabhupada would wave and the devotees would set off down the street chanting. The devotees had no special paraphernalia other than mridang and kartal, no flags, no marching bands, no rath cart, just an enthusiastic kirtan party. And there was no official pandal, no sadhu samaj, no Vedanta Sammelan, no Gita Jayanti Mahotsav, just an entire city of Krishna bhaktas waiting eagerly for the American Hare Krishna chanters. To be worshipped for chanting Hare Krishna was just the opposite of what the devotees had experienced in the West. In Hamburg, Chicago, New York, London, Los Angeles, the devotees had been insulted, threatened with arrests, assaulted, and ignored. Of course, sometimes they had been tolerated and even appreciated, but never honored. The daily Sankirtan outing has exhausting since the route was long and the stops frequent. Many of the devotees had sore throats from singing and the usual digestive upsets persisted. But the devotees took everything as a mercy of Lord Chaitanya, who was allowing them to engage a whole city in his Sankirtan movement. 20 devotees from the West had just arrived in Surat, as had an American photographer, John Greaser, on assignment for Asia magazine. John went out every day to shoot the Kirtan processions, and as he did, he felt himself becoming caught up in something much greater than a mere photo assignment. The people of Surat, who considered themselves Krishna Bhaktas at heart, saw Prabhupada as a great saint, and they saw his disciples in uh, whom they found the true Vaishnava qualities as saints also. The devotees' dress, behavior, and the way of life showed how pure bhakti, yoga, and their kirtan was genuine worship of holy name. By honoring the Lord's devotees, the people of Surat knew they were honoring Lord Krishna himself. Devotion to Krishna was the heart of their own culture, yet they had never experienced it to such a degree as now. After several days of Kirtan procession, the mayor of Surat, Mr. Vaikunta Shastri, closed all schools and proclaimed a holiday throughout the city. Everyone was now free to celebrate the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and chant Hare Krishna. Signs throughout the city read in Gujarati, "Welcome to the American European devotees of Krishna and welcome to the members of Hare Krishna movement." Vibhu. The devotees felt tired and blissful as they returned to Mr. Jariwala's home, and Prabhupada was waiting for them. As soon as they saw him, they all bowed down. Chidananda, Prabhupada was at the foot of the stairs greeting us. We were in complete bliss with flower garlands all over us, big smiles on our faces. We were very happy that we had been so well received. It was as if Prabhupada was standing there saying, "Just see how wonderful this Krishna consciousness is. Just see how happy you are." He was standing there smiling. He was so happy that we were happy. The devotees were not alone, however, as they returned to Mr. Jariwala's home, for hundreds of Indian thronged behind them, eager to see Srila Prabhupada, his disciples, and a clamoring crowd of Surat devotees squeezed tightly into Prabhupada's room. The guests, those who got in, inquired about ISKCON, its activities, while those outside pushed to get inside. The crowd around the house grew so great that traffic couldn't pass. While Prabhupada continued to answer questions inside the crowd outside grew larger and more restless. By their good fortune, they had realized Prabhupada's greatness and they wanted to be with them. As their desire began stronger, their eagerness more intense, Prabhupada got up from his seat and walked out to the balcony. The crowd roared, "Hare Krishna," with their arms upraised. When Prabhupada returned inside, the crowd remained unsatisfied and he asked some of his disciples to try and pacify them. Several devotees went out to the people, answering their questions and telling them Prabhupada would come out to see them again. Uh, Bhagubai Jariwala had come in touch with Prabhupada's movement several years before in San Francisco when he had donated a silver murti of Krishna to San Francisco temple. Now the Jariwala family, to accommodate their guests, had moved into modest quarters on the roof of their home and offered the rest of the house to Prabhupada and his disciples. Hospitable, hospitable hosts, they made the devotees feel welcome to stay forever. At lunch and again in the evening, Prabhupada would take prasadam with devotees and guests. The devotees sitting in rows on the floor, and Prabhupada sitting at the head in a chair at a table. Mr. Jariwala and his family would serve everyone. Often, respectable citizens would also attend the lunch. Mr. Chandra Desai, the Chief Minister of Gujarat, Mr. Vaikunta Shastri, Surat's Mayor, the State Education Minister, and others attended. The prasadam was the finest Gujarati cooking, and when a dish was particularly to Prabhupada's liking, he would ask one of his women disciples to learn from Mrs. Jariwala how to cook it. Honoring Prasadam twice a day with Prabhupada was another intimacy the devotees shared with their spiritual master in India. Had they been with him in any other part of the world, such intimacy would probably have been impossible. Beginning at 4:30 a.m., Prabhupada would hold Kirtan and Aarti before Radha and Krishna and lecture from Srimad Bhagavatam. His room would be filled with guests, including the members of Jariwala family. Although at outside engagements, Prabhupada usually spoke Hindi, in these morning meetings he always spoke English for his disciples. He continued lecturing on Ajamila, focusing on Ajamila's degradation um, due to bad association and on his deliverance by chanting of the holy name. To Srila Prabhupada's disciples, who were all aspiring to chant Hare Krishna purely and go back to Godhead, these topics were urgently relevant. He was speaking of them. Anyone who utters the name of Krishna is immediately freed from all sinful activities. That is the power of Krishna's name. The difficulty is that after being freed, we again commit mistakes. Krishna's name has got the power. As soon as you utter the name, you immediately become free from all contamination. But if one thinks, I am chanting Hare Krishna, so even if I commit sinful activities, it will be counteracted by my chanting. That is the greatest offense. Just like sometimes in Christian churches, they go on Sundays and confess that they are supposed to be excused from the sinful reaction. But again, after coming back from the church, they commit the same sin with the expectation that next week when I go to the church, I shall confess and I will be counteracted. This kind of understanding is prohibited. If you accept spiritual path and at same time go on committing sinful activities, then you will be never be able to progress. Prabhupada's outdoor evening engagement were well attended. The city officials made one of the Surat's main intersections a festival site, rerouted all traffic, and set up a stage and sound system. Thousands would gather nightly. The crowd was sometimes so large and excited that Prabhupada would have difficulty speaking above the noise, so he would hold a kirtan. In the quiet that followed, he would have one or two of his disciples speak. Then he would speak. If the audience again became noisy, he would again say, all right, let us have kirtan. Or sometimes he would simply sit and distribute bits of crystallized sugar candies to the thousands who approached him to touch his lotus feet and take a piece of prasadam. Giriraj. All the area around this block was completely packed with people. They were all mad after Srila Prabhupada and Krishna consciousness. Although a very big area, still people were occupying every space available, perching on rooftops, looking out windows, sitting on odd cement boulders or blocks scattered here and there. Everything about Proper's program was completely satisfying to everyone. The old people liked it because there was the saintly figure of Srila Prabhupada with his young foreign disciples. And the intellectuals liked it because Srila Prabhupada was giving such sound philosophy. And the children liked it because they could run and dance and join in the kirtan. Madhuri Dasi. At one program, they mobbed us so we couldn't even get out of the cars. They were so eager to see Srila Prabhupada. There were so many people. Prabhupada said, all right, the next night will be a night of ladies only. So the next night, only ladies came. But still, it was just as packed, and Prabhupada gave a wonderful lecture. Bruce. One program was so noisy that no one stopped talking. So Prabhupada just started chanting the Brahma Samhita. That was the whole program. He just chanted the Brahma Samhita. Then he gave up and went out. Chidananda. Before going out to attend these programs, Prabhupada looked like a general getting ready to go out for battle. He would come out of his room beautifully dressed and effulgent, ready to go out and fight Maya. There are there were thousands and thousands of people waiting. I didn't know what to make of it. I couldn't handle so many people. But Prabhupada was waging war on Maya. He was there to convince all these people, and the more people would come, the stronger he would get. Prabhupada preached in the outlying villages also. He would ride in a car with Mr. Jariwala, several disciples, and his Radha Krishna deities to Bardoli, or Meol. The village dwellings were made of baked mud, with straw roofs and cowdung walls and floors. For Prabhupada's visit, the villagers drew rice floor designs on the ground outside their houses and lined their lanes with clay pots, plantain leaves, and coconuts. Mr. N.D. Patel, the people in my village were much impressed by the presence of Prabhupada. They used to say that he has done miracles by chanting. He's a miracle saint, no doubt, people were saying. So many Western people have become devotees just by chanting the name of Krishna, name of Lord. The people were very much impressed by Prabhupada's practical way of bhakti. In his lecture, Srila Prabhupada created such a good impression not only on Vaishnavas but so many Christians, Parsis. Even some Mohammedan friends started believing in Krishna, in Lord Krishna as universal Godhead. With regards to all the saints, nobody has been able to spread this philosophy like this in the past. In our village, we are already Vaishnavas, of course, but we used to believe in Surya ji, Durga, Thakuraji, and all these things. But after Prabhupada's explanation of what is Gita, what is Lord Krishna, we are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. After Prabhupada conducted his discourse here in the village, the people were so impressed that even in his absence, they chant the Mahamantra loudly and they greet people with the words Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. At the time of departure of Prabhupada, uh, at the time of departure of people, wished every devotee and Prabhupada with the word Hare Krishna. When there when there were no outside engagement, Prabhupada would sit in his room and receive visitors. To a member of parliament who came to visit, Prabhupada said that wherever he traveled, he encountered the concept of India as a beggar, backward and poverty stricken. Ambassadors from India, he said, had only reinforced that image by going to Western countries and begging. Give me rice, give me money, give me alms. India, Prabhupada explained, had the greatest wealth of spiritual culture and the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada had taken this wealth to the West and given it away freely. He was not a beggar. Yamuna. During visiting hours, riding in the car, walking, standing, or sitting, Prabhupada was chanting japa all the time in Surat. His fingers were always moving within his saffron bead bag. He was always a Vaishnava, the pure devotee of Krishna, well groomed with beautiful neat tilak on, and his hand was always in his bead bag. As he was sitting to greet people, one would be struck by his inconceivable beauty. Srila Prabhupada said, persons who give themselves to others are called magnanimous, and this was how Srila Prabhupada was during his pastimes in Surat. He was always delivering Krishna to everyone he met. He affect, he affected people's hearts by his great potency. Every morning in Srimad Bhagavatam class, Prabhupada added another installment of Ajamila story. Sometimes he would refer to the degradation of Indian culture, citing specific examples he had seen during his India tour. Now I am very sorry to inform you that in your city I have seen two temples. They are known as Ram Mandir, but there is no Ram. This cheating is going on and you are accepting. There is no Ram deity worship, but a man's photo is there, Sri Ram. And people are so foolish they do not question why this is going on. In Indore, I have been in Gita Bhavan and so many nonsense things are there. Another place I saw Gita Samiti, and there was not a single photograph of Krishna, but a lamp is there. And this is in the name of Dharma. Last night, this boy informed me that Bhagavad Gita is going to be distributed by some Swami, but according to Bhagavad Gita, that Swami is fool number one. He is distributing Bhagavad Gita and people are accepting and paying for it. This is going on. It is very serious situation all over the world. In the name of Dharma, Adharma is going on. As Ajamila had become degraded. Prabhupada explained Indian culture had also become degraded. The only hope was for people to return to their rightful position of Krishna consciousness. So, all over the world, not only in India, there cannot be peace unless you reform the whole social structure, and that can be done only by this movement, Krishna consciousness. Now, see how this man fell down. Lusty people, they don't care for society, they don't care for elderly persons, they do it in the road, in the street, on the sea beach, anywhere, in the cinema. These things are going on. It is advertised also in cinema nowadays to attract people. Formerly in India, it was not so. But they are introducing all of this nonsense to make people more lusty. To become more lusty means he is going to hell. If you want to open the door to your liberation, then you should engage yourself in serving the Mahat, the pure devotees. If you want to open the door to the hellish condition of life, then you mix with those who are too much attached to women. He spoke of the slaughterhouse and continued to decry the public display of illicit sex. Regarding illicit sex, he said that what had been a rare incident in the time of Ajamila now was now a common affair. How can young people protect themselves? They are not trained up. This Ajamila was trained up and yet he fell down. I saw in many parks, such as Golden Gate Park, within the cars, the young boys and girls. Uh, Now, here it is said that this behavior is expected of the Shudra, not from the higher class caste. So, just try to understand. They are thinking that they are becoming advanced, but they are not becoming advanced, they are becoming degraded. The whole world is degraded, and India is also imitating their degradation. How by degraded association one becomes himself degraded, that this story will reveal. Prabhupada had accomplished in Surat what he had intended. He had given the holy name, the people had embraced it. The people of Surat, though not prepared to all alter their lives radically and live as ISKCON devotees, appreciated that Prabhupada had turned Westerners into devotees of Lord Krishna and that he was teaching the pure message of the scriptures and chanting Hare Krishna. They had responded to Prabhupada's not out of a dogma or a ritual, but out of an appreciation of the importance of the spiritual life and a recognition that Prabhupada and ISKCON were genuine. For Prabhupada's disciples, the visit to Surat had given them a glimpse of what the world would be like if everyone was a devotee. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
What are some of the striking points of
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
today's reading? Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I find that this Surat Yatra was really very exciting journey. So many devotees, so much happening, and so much of enthusiasm and spirit and love for Krishna was really, really, yeah.
Yeah.
And out of this hectic schedule also, like Prabhupada was full on his from the morning program till the night program. He was also going on.
And not one
full,
day, right? Not
yeah,
one day.
not one day. Yes.
Yeah.
And going in villages.
I mean, how is it possible? I'm still not able to understand. Yeah.
And this is, we have heard that this is the stage when he is sick, because he was already not feeling well when he came from US. So in this state, he's going to villages, going in night program, morning program, day programs.
And yeah. eating also is not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It looks like some other world only, Prabhuji. Although we know Prabhupada, we know we are hearing, but feels like like inconceivable simply that how it is happening.
Yeah. I mean, when we see ourselves, right, we see that ISKCON is only a small institution. There are so many institutions around the world. how can we represent to without changing our philosophy or without becoming soft. Hmm? I remember always that Bhakti Bhushan Maharaj says, "Na, it's not like okay, like a needle. Yeah? It's like a needle has a sharp and it will go, but it will make a big hole. Hmm? So Prabhupada knows very well exactly where to hit, very very with sharp. mm, what do you call references or all those things presented very nicely and uncompromising. Yeah, I think today, yeah, Ratikali Mataji is not here, but we were discussing about something that there is one family who wants to do some yajna. Hmm? Huh? So they are contacting her since quite some time. Of course, they met in train station last Janmashtami or this Janmashtami, and since then till now, they didn't join any of our sessions, programs. But they always carried this desire. Okay, they want to do this yajna. For that matter, they also contacted the temple. Temple has informed me because whatever these kind of things now, those services usually they ask me to support or check, facilitate. So it came from them, and today also when Ratikeli Mataji was asking, I said, okay, yeah, it's nice. Let them join our katha. Yeah. So she told me, yeah, I've been trying already since quite some time, and I said, okay, but if they only want yajnas, yeah, they can definitely go to some other place. Our movement is not mm, to kind of. And I asked, what is the purpose? What is the purpose of their yajna? Yeah, no, for some peace of mind at home. I mean, for peace. Yeah, this is what health. I told, yeah, our movement is to help people who sense that they are really burning in the fire, to help them out. Yeah. So who is this Radhika? Is it Radhikali Mataji or some other Radhika? Acha, Radhika. Sia, Radhika. Okay. So yeah. So what I was saying was that I told, yeah, we have to present this uncompromised. We can't just say okay to entertain everyone. Okay. I said, yeah, if they want to hear a bit, we can also kind of give them what is the understanding why we want to do that. But our yajna is only nama yajna, and today also in the whole, yeah, we came across now the importance of nam, and in this episode also emphasizes that the name of the Lord and the Lord are not different. So we are able to access the Lord in the best way and this best age. Hmm? And I said, okay, let's see. I even so Ratikeli Siddhi Mataji asked, okay, what should I tell? Yeah, you just simply tell that, yeah, because they want to talk to me. I said, okay, I'm available after tomorrow's Bhagavatam. Yeah, so if they can come, at least to that they can hear something. Yeah, and when they hear, then we know, okay, they have a hope. Okay, we have a hope that they will take up Harikatha more often. So we have to find a ways how we can introduce this message. Hmm?
Yes, very much.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean doing yajna is absolutely nice, but we should understand that itself is not everything. The most important thing is for this age is this one.
Mhm.
Yeah, we can say okay, let us go and bring them also into this family of devotees and all those things. Yeah, but I think they already have an understanding of something of this is what we do, this is what we do, this is what we want to do, this is what we don't want to do. So I think we have to be very um, choosy. Yeah, we have to prioritize our preaching effort. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, here I mean I'm very happy. Always, na, I think we have seen whatever is happening in our life when we are reading Prabhupada-līlāmṛta, it brings to a context of what is happening. And yeah, last time we were discussing about what? Spiritual master Vyasa Puja. I don't know when was
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
immediately, yeah, we had to write offerings uh,
Yes.
to our Guru Maharaj. So all these things, na, it's a very nice blessing where I'm seeing Prabhupada is very active in Prabhupada-līlāmṛta and blessing. Thank you. Yeah, Satish Prabhu.
Prabhuji, I think you summarized it very well, because to be honest, I was from the Sri Vaishnavam tradition where we have Sri Ramanujacharya as a guru. So though I know about Krishna and Prabhupada, Sri Prabhupada, when my sister introduced me to Prabhupada like about a year back, I was really thinking, okay, who is this person? How can they be so great? I had those kind of thoughts, but I was introduced to Leelamritam, obviously by you and also from the UK group the last 3 months. And I feel really ashamed of myself, because when somebody can transform the world at that age, at the age of 69, me in my 30s, I'm kind of giving my own reasons for not doing things. So, I eagerly look forward to the classes of you, this Leelamritam. So I think you summarized it well. It's not just about doing some yajna, but being involved in this whole ecosystem of Bhagavatam, Leelamritam, and Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, I think more it's about. I mean, as you were referring when the background wise, right? So, Sri Vaishnavism is a very nice pure Vaishnavism that is followed. Yeah. So it is very nice to use that. It's not like we want to give up that. We want to use the benefits of what Sri Vaishnavism is giving, so that to maintain proper rules and regulations in our life. Yeah, Yama, Niyama, Nishtha, and all these things for us. But we could accelerate our advancement by embracing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement of understanding the higher purpose of even doing all these rules and regulations and approaching the Lord. Yeah, there are great personalities in Sri Vaishnavism to understand what is devotion and how to practice. Everything is there.
Absolutely.
What we benefit here is applying that in today's world for this age. Yeah, because I mean, I don't know, because I have not read that much literature from Sri Vaishnavism, but eh, we see that it is still about how a Brahman purity is to be maintained, or a step above is about how a Vaishnava purity is maintained. So it's more about purity, it's about not making mistakes and all those things. That is the focus. Whereas we see in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, not only that we try to avoid, but we don't even care in case if we make some mistake unknowingly. More important is what? To to
Hari,
look on the positive side.
Nama Sankirtanam, and
Yeah.
and what really impressed me here is like some people commented that he comes out like a warrior and fights against Maya. That was very wonderful. And as somebody also told, at that age he's preaching and so much into devotion. And
Yeah.
here I am on the weekends thinking if I should go in the cold weather to the Cologne temple. So
Yeah. Yeah, even if you see from Pejawar Mutt, yeah. So if we see also from Pejawar Mutt from Udupi, yeah, they are excellent personalities. Yeah. Recently, I think few years back, I think 4 years back, he left Vishweshwara Periyar, I think. Yeah. Yeah, we got the fortune. We saw him. We got his blessings when we were there. The whole mutt is vibrant by his presence and power. So why? Because even the Swami also, what he does, very active preaching, speaking a lot, and through that speaking has transformed heart of everyone and spirit of everyone to practice devotion. And if we don't understand that, and if we are only thinking, okay, doing that I will make good fortune, or doing this will give good health, this will make universal peace. Yeah. So yeah, somewhere we are only looking the benefit side of it.
and not being involved in the process and with the association creates a lot of difference.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. What did you like, Hemagori Mataji? There was something important lines, no? I think when was it we discussed about it? It came again. They are like people here who join at 4:30. There are people who join at evening. So Prabhupada is saying that if we want to advance in spirituality, what we have to do is there is no other easier way. We have to prioritize to get up morning, to do the japa in the morning. Maybe 1 or 2 cheap days we can say, okay, let me sleep a little longer, not every day sleeping. Yeah, so Prabhupada is even saying about Brahma Muhurta. I think maybe that if we do, I mean, that's why even we see Prabhupada disciples are very, very spiritually strong. Why? And also, yeah, with their own physical strength also is because of that, getting up early in the morning. We think that morning and then the whole day is kind of lagging and tired. No, maybe we should try longer period. What do you all say? I think these days I see more participants in the morning japa. Adirasa Prabhu, how you feel? Or Chitramali Mataji, japa in the mornings.
Yes, Salikesha Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji, we both feel good. Yes, it's very pleasant. Also, it's also during the day. Then it's very emptiness that the japa is done in the morning. So
Yeah, you can
then
read
we have more
when you
time to
feel
do
empty.
something else. Yes.
Yeah, when you
Yes.
feel empty, let me know what we can do. I am not getting time even to eat.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but doesn't mean that I'm only doing japa in the eating time. Yeah, finish the japa in the morning so that we can begin our sadhana with reading, with doing the preaching, planning. I don't know. Is there any time to really think something else? Very difficult.
Yes, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, in this today's here, that on the funny note, that was person rolling and crying, and Prabhupada he did not pay attention. Then he went back.
Yeah.
So what was for that? I mean, to grab the attention of Prabhupada, or maybe?
Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, the so the person Vairagi, I think Vairagi Avaduta, or are you telling the before one? The before one, I think.
Not
So
Avadhuta, the other one, na, that
yeah, the
who,
other one,
yeah.
yeah. Even sometimes we also see in our own, preaching, some person will come and he just say, hey, he will talk a lot, lot, but when it comes to do japa, gone. As soon as when people ask to do one round japa, then they say, no. So yeah, Prabhupada, he knows how to handle different kinds of people. Yeah. We may be scared. We may think, okay. But I think Prabhupada has a caliber of really being so bold. In our case, we follow that we should not at least compromise our own way of living. May not be so bold because we are not so pure as Prabhupada. So not to imitate him, that's why we follow him by maintaining at least our own good. That's why Prabhupada, in some places where when someone very very odd behaving, and when disciples of Prabhupada used to bring it up as a sarcastically, Prabhupada used to control or check them. Prabhupada may do it, not we.
Yes, Prabhuji, yeah, correct.
Yeah. Our benefit is by tolerating. Prabhupada need not tolerate. Prabhupada can straight away teach. We need to first tolerate all these things so that we become pure. Okay. Anyone want to add share anything what you found more nice? By the way, am I reading quite fast? I'm just trying to go as at least half the chapter session.
No,
No,
Prabhuji, it is good.
Yeah, fine. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very nice flowing biography. So that's why I'm not breaking, trying to keep it the flow. Okay, thank you very much then. Thanks for joining, and tomorrow let's have Bhagavatam. वञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
Krishna.
His
Hare
Holiness
Krishna.
Satsvarupa Goswami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhu, Satish Prabhu, if you know someone who is around you and who may like to join, please, feel free to encourage them.
Sure, Prabhuji. I will talk to my friends. Thank you.
Because now we have joined for a few sessions, and if you think it's nice,
Absolutely.
why not others? Yeah, let others benefit.
Absolutely. We will do.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare